Welcome in, everyone, to Rollin Heavy. I am your host, Big D, aka Darren. I just did that backwards, but we're gonna roll with it.
We
Join.
do. We roll heavy.
Yes, we do. We roll very, very well too.
Hmm.
You ever seen a fat guy roll down a hill?
They just keep going.
Yep. Gotta hit something to stop us.
Uh-huh.
As always, joined by my brother and good friend Dustin, the notorious BOF. How are you tonight, sir?
All the great. That's
All the
me.
great. I like it.
All the
All
great.
the great. We're what, episode 6 now? Right?
Episode 6.
6. Wow, we're big timing now. This is like 5 straight weeks for us.
It is. This is 5 more episodes than I thought would actually make it. So here we are.
Hey. And I want to say thank you to the few listeners that we do have.
Hmm.
We appreciate your support, and continuing to listen to the show and share it to your friends when you can. We had I have to brag on us a little bit. We had the biggest jump in downloads that we've ever had. Our largest single download day
Very
this
nice.
over this last week from our last episode. So thank you to all of the listeners for tuning in and listening to me and BOF here talk a whole lot of white belt nonsense.
That's exactly what it is.
we're I think we're a little entertaining, but there's at least like 4 other people that have gone through our episodes, so thank you.
So there's 4 people in the world that think we're entertaining too.
Or there's one person that downloads it 4 times. I don't know. I'll take it
Well,
either way.
maybe you know what? It's more than zero.
Yes, yes, it's more than zero. um that being said, speaking about white belt nonsense, we're gonna get into our favorite techniques and our least favorite techniques as fat guys this week, um, or big dudes or whatever you want to heavies. Should we call ourselves heavies? What do we call ourselves now?
Jiu-jitsu terms, we are super heavyweights.
Yes, in terms of the super heavies, what do we like? What don't we like? We've been doing this for 3 months ish, give or
Hmm.
take. So we've learned a little bit. We've learned some submissions. We've learned some escapes. We've learned some sweeps. We've gone through all of the basic positions, I guess, right? You
Yeah,
know?
we've learned some stuff, forgot some stuff.
Yeah, and
Kind of got some of the moves, but it's like anything. It's like, oh, now we're gonna do this De La Riva. I'm like, cool.
hey, we did this a couple weeks ago. We're gonna revisit this. I forgot it already.
I wasn't at class a couple weeks ago.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like I don't remember that one, and I think and that's kind of one of my, if I have any kind of knocks or kind of complaints, I'm a very structured person, so I like to know, hey, this is kind of what we're gonna go through, right?
Right,
This is like
right.
I like a stepped approach. We're gonna go into this, then we're learning this, then we're learning this, and then we're learning this, and then we're learning this.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's kind of like, here's a bunch of stuff. Let's just figure it all out.
Go for it. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah, and which is fine, but I like to be able to, like, okay, now I'm learning this, and now I'm learning this. Okay, and now I have to learn that. I know I get to learn that, and now I'm get to learn this. Now it's like, what are we learning now? What should I learn now? What are we learning now? And stuff like that. And I know that's pretty hard, the way that the gym is kind of structured.
Right.
It's kind of like, here's a class, you come and you go to the class, right? It's not kind of like it's not like this Monday. Here's this Monday class where you. It's not like what a boot camp is. I'm going to use a boot camp.
Okay.
Like a boot
Okay.
camp, you come in as a boot camp, right? Typically, if you do a boot camp, your day one is everybody else in that class is day one, right?
Right.
Because y'all kind of signed up together. Then you go through it all together. and um, then when after the 6 or 8 or 10 weeks is done, you've all done the boot camp, right?
Right, right.
That's not how it works. Obviously, at the
No.
gym, it's like my day one is their day 657 or 1291.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we working on now? What are we working on now? What are we working on now? So it's just like, I guess it's just more. I need to be better at taking mental notes and writing it down after, so I can maybe study that and after the class and remember those kind of techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the ones that I do like, kind of leading into today's topic, I do remember. I'm like, hey, I like that one. I want to look into this one. I want to look into this one more because I like that one.
Right. You become a student, right? I'm gonna refer back to this. We talked about this from day one. Being a student, you liked that idea. You got into it, and you're just like, I want to learn more. And then you start to become more of a student of the game, right?
Yep.
So what? Go ahead.
But some days I'm a really good student. Some days I'm not a great student, just because there's so much going on. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's so much going on, and I'm just like, I don't know. But like the techniques that I like, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Okay, I'm gonna remember that one. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And then I start thinking, how can I chain these together? But it's hard. It's hard, kind of walking in on a Monday or a Thursday and being like, I wonder what's happening today. Because I would like to be able on Monday, being like, oh, I know today we're going over butterfly guard. Let me look at some butterfly guard videos so I kind of know what we're going on. Let me look at the video. Let me, like we did in school, okay, read chapter 12,
And then be
and we
prepared
will
for class.
discuss. Be prepared for class next time. Cool. Go home, read chapter 12, come and talk about chapter 12, right? That's kind of
Right.
what I want to do. I want to watch I want to read chapter 12 and then come to class and actually work on chapter 12. But that's not, I mean, that's just me being a being a I like a structured thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the good thing about doing it is we're now starting to get into the points where we are relearning some of the stuff that we've already gone through. Like
mhm.
last week we went through Kimuras and a different kind of Kimura setup. And before that, when we did Kimuras for just the first time, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like how to get here.
Mhm.
But, when we did it last week, it was okay. I understand the movements and it kind of built on that. It was like, okay, you get them here, but now they lock their arms. How are you breaking that? And how are you going
Yep.
to get to that? And the correct answer is the taintable claw.
Taintable claw
Yep. Word of the week. One of the words of the week from last week. Uh,
was taintable claw.
the taintable claw. Um,
Mhm.
but getting your knee through and sitting your taint on the side of their face and then pulling and then you get the arm behind the back and finish from there.
Mhm.
So we're getting there. We have, I feel like, some baseline knowledge at this point, and we're grasping things a little bit quicker. Like as we go through stuff, we're not sitting there thinking about the move or where do I need to position or where do I need to do this unless it's something that's 100% brand new, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's just, and I think too. And honestly, I sometimes I get impatient. I'm impatient. I want to be a black belt tomorrow. That's just it.
Fair. It's
So
fair.
I need to learn all of this right now. I just need to learn all this right now because I want a black belt tomorrow, which is not how these things work. This is a I think I mentioned last week. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So I want to know all of this right now so I can be a black belt. But um like you said, when we come in and we go through something, that's good to kind of do a refresher and kind of get, because if we lose it, if we learn it, you know, one
Yeah.
week and then go 2 weeks and not, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and go through this again, right? Just to let's get a refresher and let's work out some of the kinks because obviously it's not perfect the very first time,
Right.
which
Right.
things rarely are. So it's like, all right, let's do it again. Let's go through it again, and then let's work on that skill set. Let's work on that skill set. Because honestly, doing a refresher on something we've already learned, or learning a new technique, honestly, it's just like we've mentioned. Right now, we're in survival mode, and
Yeah,
everything we learn is just a is a survival skill. Like, cool. That's one more thing I can do. That's one more thing I can do. That's one more thing I can do. Maybe I won't get tapped out in 3 minutes this time. Maybe I can go 4 minutes and 4 minutes, 30 seconds really. Let's be honest.
yeah, for
If
sure.
someone if, if
Well,
someone that knew what they were doing, if I was to grapple with someone that knew what they're doing, I 30 45 seconds I'm done.
now I think we could last a little longer than that. Now it depends on how much do they know that they're doing. Are you talking about maybe like a 3 or 4 stripe white belt? Are we talking about a blue or a purple? Because I feel like against a 3 or a 4, I could make it at least a minute. I feel like I could turtle up and I could defend myself well enough to not get tapped for at least a minute. I feel like I could
Yep.
intelligently defend myself for at least that long.
Yep.
Um, uh, but if we're talking, a blue, a purple, or a brown belt,
Hmm.
I'm fighting for my life essentially, and
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled something out within 30 seconds and I'm done.
Well, and I guess it depends on what's the starting position, right?
Right.
If we're starting on our knees, maybe I could even with a purple or a black belt. I mean, look, I'm 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 heavier, so I'm easy to see and hard to kidnap.
Very
So,
true.
um,
We turtle
so
very well.
yes, so I think that's kind of obviously we've talked about what's one of our advantages being one of the heavier people.
Right.
If I'm rolling with someone that is lighter than I, and we're starting maybe stand up or even on our knees a little bit, um, I think I know just enough through contact sports that I can I'm harder to take down. So all of their work will be taking me down,
Yes.
and then hopefully gassing them out while I don't gas out as much, and then being able to use that to my advantage. Be like, I know you're gassed out because you were just pushing around a basically a giant rock trying
Yeah.
to get that rock delayed. But now you're tired and you're going to take a break. So I'm going to use one of the 5 moves that I know, and hopefully you're too tired to defend it. So ready to go.
I'm going to let you gas yourself trying to take me down. I'm going to get on top and smash you,
It's
and
basically it.
hopefully you are too gassed to do anything about it.
I'm gonna play rope a dope. I'm gonna play rope a dope until you gas out, and then I'm gonna hit you with the haymaker, and hopefully it lands.
I mean, that's not a bad strategy if you're trying to survive. Obviously, rolling with somebody who's lighter than you, you're wanting to work on different techniques because usually if somebody's lighter than you or smaller than you, if they've been doing it for a little while, they're a little more nimble, they're a little more
Hmm.
stretchy, so they're going to be able to attack you in a lot of different ways that you're not used to.
Hmm.
So,
Plus they
sure,
plus their
I can
arsenals.
lay on you. Yeah, their arsenal's huge,
Yeah,
you know.
they have an arsenal,
And what we're
and
able
I
to do
don't.
is just survive. That's the name of the
Yep.
game. Survive. So, that being said, when we've been going through quite a few things, we've gone through I think quite a few of the fundamentals. I guess I would say the fundamentals of jujitsu by 3 months. I think we've covered a lot of things.
Lots of
Um,
sweeps, a lot of
yeah,
sweeps,
a lot of sweeps.
couple of chokes. Well, really, couple of chokes, couple of bars.
Yep.
Mostly arms. We haven't really done any leg
No, there's
or
been
ankle
yeah,
locks or anything like that. But
yeah. No, we haven't done anything except a very brief mention of a leg lock. It's like you could
yeah,
go here, but this is not what we're going for.
but I've watched enough WWE. My go-to is going to be either the sharpshooter or the figure four. Those are my finishing leg moves.
Gotcha.
Calling them out now.
You're gonna somebody's gonna try pull guard on you, and you're just gonna stand there and let them fall down.
You fall down. I watched this. I fall down, and if I pick your legs up and I look left and right to the crowd
Yep.
and they cheer, that means I can just step through and do the sharpshooter,
You read my mind.
and then you're gonna shake for a minute, and then you're gonna tap out.
I wholly expect when we do IBJJF next year
Hmm.
for you to attempt a sharpshooter on somebody.
I will be doing a sharpshooter.
Even if that sharpshooter is me, I will try to pull guard on you.
Pull guard. I'm calling it now. Sharpshooter.
So in real jujitsu
Or
terms,
or I might even do. I might even do the walls of Boff.
the walls of buff. I gotcha.
It's the
Um,
notorious BOF pulling out the walls of Boff.
I don't even want to know. You can keep that for your matches that aren't against me.
Okay, you can watch. You can
Yeah,
see them.
I'll watch. I'll cheer you on, and I'll be like, "What is that?" Like after you submit the guy, like, "What was that submission?" The walls of buff.
Basically, it's a wall of Boff. It's basically just a Boston crab. That's what it is. I changed the name. It's a boffin crab.
The boffin crab.
The boffin
I like
crab.
the walls of buff better for
Walls of Boff.
yeah yeah.
Mhm.
But hey, it's your move. You own it. You name it.
We'll see how it progresses.
So in actual jujitsu terms, though,
These are
what
actual terms.
what what are some of your favorite uh, submissions or I guess um, places to be? Like what do you like to do?
Um, right now, so kind of, I like working. I like working from guard.
Okay,
Um, so I think probably one of my favorite positions is working from the guard. Um, uh, I do most of my best work from my back.
uh-huh.
Um, so I like to work from the guard. Um, and from the guard, I like the kind of the Kimura sweep. Um, so
Okay,
that's kind of one of my. So the Kimura is
like a
kind of one of my best.
bumps
Is,
like
is
a
kind of.
so just sorry, I want to make sure I'm understanding. So the Kimura sweep, so where you're setting up for like a bump sweep, right? But then
Yep.
you have the option to take the hand or take the arm and transition to a Kimura.
Yeah. So instead of just going for the sweep, you set it up basically the same way, except you control the arm first, and then you kind of shrimp out to your side a little bit, and then when you come over, instead of performing a sweep, you reach through, and now you have the Kimura, and then you can work your body sideways to try to pull the submission.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's a pretty fluid movement. When they showed us that week, that was I'm like, that's pretty slick.
yep, yeah. So, and I like that. I think arm locks are my kind of the things that I like the most. I like that. I like the key lock. Because I think it's really easy. Those are easy transitions. You can go from like Kimura to omoplata to key lock to just a standard armbar.
Sure. Yeah.
Really and that's just adjustments in a position that you're from guard. Um, those are just quick, easy, like transitions from this to this. If they get out here, well, this is open now. If they do, and then this is open now, and you can really kind of go through those four things, and hopefully you're going to land one within a really
Oh,
quick succession.
yeah, for sure. And I can understand completely why you would gravitate towards those because if you can get your opponent into one of those positions, right? Like if you can get them to
Mhm.
where you're trying to set up a key lock. If you don't know what a key lock is, it's also called an Americana. Um, but if you can get them to that spot where you've got an arm isolated and
Mhm.
you're able to figure for your arm and start to work on it, if they start to defend, that it opens up so many different options for you. You know, like you talked, there's a lot of transition points once you have an arm isolated like that. So
Yep.
I can understand completely. And arm locks are super powerful. Like as soon as you get it locked, if they don't tap, they're tearing something. Right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
tear a rotator cuff or something like they're real painful and they're if you don't tap right away, like it can really cause some damage.
Yeah. It's like it's basically your entire body focusing on one tiny area of their body, and
That's not
I don't
supposed to move away, you're moving it.
know. I don't care who you are, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt. And and from that guard too, I like the triangle, and I
Okay.
like
Okay.
I like the triangle, and I also like the opportunity, and this is why I kind of like the Kimura sweep is probably one of my the sweeps that I like the most because if the Kimura thing isn't there, I reach back the other way, and then then I have a guillotine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So so I so that's kind of why I like the guard. I mean, there's forearm things that I have I have four offensive weapons right there. You know, Kimura, omoplata, leg lock, or um, a key lock.
Yeah.
Or then I have a triangle and um, I have the guillotine. So I like that. I don't like, and I feel like I have more control. I feel like
Right.
I
Right.
have more,
Yeah. Well,
just because I know the position better.
yeah, I mean, if you have somebody in your full guard, like that's one of the super dominant positions in jujitsu. That's why like so many people pull guard
Yep.
is because there's so many ways for you to attack somebody.
Yeah, if you watch, obviously everybody, jujitsu is synonymous with the UFC, right? Most people think that jujitsu came from because of the UFC, which is not the case. UFC or jujitsu's been long, way before MMA was even a thing. Um,
Yeah,
but
you and
um,
I were actually talking about the history a little bit
uh-huh.
earlier this week.
hmm
I dropped a
hmm
little knowledge bomb on you.
You did. You did. It was. I was like, "Huh, that's good to know." Because now I feel like I can complete to it, but it's good to know. Um, anyway, he was talking. I like to watch some of the YouTube videos of people that are doing actual techniques that I want to get stronger on. And there was a picture, a portrait of a gentleman that was also in our gym. And I thought, hey, maybe they're from the same lineage as us.
Yeah,
But no, it's not. It was Helio Gracie, who is basically the godfather of jujitsu, and that's you'll find his picture in probably most jujitsu gyms. So that was just me being into it. Um,
but if anybody hasn't looked up the story, I highly recommend it. Like if you like jujitsu, like the whole story behind how Brazilian jiu-jitsu got started is pretty interesting. I enjoy it quite a bit. But
I don't know how to read.
I'm a history nerd, so that's just kind of one of my things.
I need to find an audiobook because I don't know how to read.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll have someone tell me the story.
Yeah, I think Hoist Gracie actually has a video kind of about the lineage of the Gracie family.
Oh, well, I'm gonna get some popcorn tonight and watch the story of jujitsu.
There you go. There you go. But I think it's funny you talk about the triangle. Sorry, I want to go back to the triangle as being one of your favorites.
Yep,
Triangle's one of my least favorites.
I get
Um,
that.
like trying to attempt a triangle, I should say. So I have you in my guard in full guard, and I'm trying to get you in a triangle. Now it might just be because I've got short, stubby legs, and
hmm
you've got a wider frame, so it's real hard for me to try to get you in a triangle. I don't think I've fully locked in a triangle on you yet.
No,
But a
I
triangle's
mean,
something I struggle really hard with, and it's one of my least favorite things to go for. Like if I've got you in my guard, the last thing I'm gonna try for is a triangle because I don't have the confidence right now, I guess, say to lock it in.
you've made my life very uncomfortable in the triangle. Um, and it's I've my head has felt like it. pimple about ready to pop, but it wasn't at a tap out point. I didn't start to see the fuzzies and things start to get dark. But
Right.
I mean, it was uncomfortable for sure, and I wouldn't want to be there longer than I was, but I can see. Plus, you got tree trunk thighs, man. I mean, it's harder for you
Yeah,
to
that's
pull
true.
that move, or at least get, because you're trying to get a lot of things in a tiny space, right? You need my arm, you need my head, then you need your legs there, and then you need to pull my head and then hold your leg, and then you need to squinch your knees, and there's a lot of things that need to happen in a small space. And sorry, but your space with the tree trunk thighs is small. There's not enough space for all of that.
Yeah, and if I feel like I would maybe be more successful with a smaller opponent. Um, but
Probably, yeah.
like we talked about quite a few times, you're very broad in the shoulders. You're much broader in the shoulders than I am. Like I'm also broad
Yes,
in
I
the
am.
shoulders, but you are much wider in the shoulders than I am. So
I am
trying to
wide in the shoulders.
so with me not having super long legs, I'm not 6'4", so I can't, wrap my legs around, the top part of your head like I'm supposed to. Like it's been hard
Hmm.
for me to get there, and yeah, you're right. I have very thick thighs. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's hard for to
and
get up
it's
and.
and I can't muscle it through. I can't just squeeze and get you there, and that's been a real big struggle for me. I'm gonna keep working on it, and as we keep going, as we keep losing weight, like you're gonna get more susceptible to a triangle. So,
Hmm. Oh,
um,
absolutely, for sure. And I think too, because as we do, I probably won't be as bright in the shoulder. Um, and yeah, and I think too, like you're gonna have more space to make it happen. Obviously, if you like you said, if you were 6'4", you would have a long,
yes,
you you would have a lot more leg to actually get farther behind me, and you don't even have to get it kind of in the triangle position. You know, if you could just get it to where even your legs are behind me, and then kind of reach up and put your hands behind your knees in the popliteal area, and then just squeeze them together.
right, yeah,
You'd
kind of,
have that extra space. But right now, it's kind of like it's easy to pop out because as you squeeze, if I can just even jerk back a little bit, I can pop through just
mhm.
because it's harder for you to actually get me down to where you need to be. Obviously, because of my width and the space that you're working in.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. And then we were talking about you like to work from close guard, and I feel like my close guard probably needs the most work right now. I
Hmm.
don't want to say it's like my least favorite by any means. If I want to talk about least favorite position to be in is with you on my back and you got a full seatbelt on me.
Hmm.
That's where I definitely don't want to be. But
Right.
my I think my closed guard right now needs probably the most work, and
Got you.
I I feel like I can control posture and everything. Like I can from closed guard. I don't really think I'm dangerous. Like let's go that far. Like I know
Got
how
you.
to reach up for a cross collar, or I can control your posture a little bit. I think I've landed a bump sweep on you. Um,
Hmm.
I've I think I've developed a pretty less than average, not quite so shitty scissor sweep. I feel like my scissor sweep has come a long way since when we first tried
Hmm.
to do it. Um, but yeah, I don't really feel super dangerous from close guard. Like in that's where I need to be good from. Like that's where so much stuff gets set up from is from close guard.
I get you. But no, honestly, I don't feel. But I think that's where you're supposed to. I mean, I think that's where you're supposed to be right now, though. You're supposed to be uncomfortable in every position, and I'm uncomfortable in every position. Um, I feel that I have more knowledge on the back coming from like closed guard or open guard. Um, kind of know what to do, and I know the moves to do it. I'm not great at doing them, so I'm great at doing when we're just practicing the techniques because you're not fighting me.
Right.
But if you fight me, I'm like, Now what do I do? Now what do I do? Now what do I do? I have a hard time reacting just because I have there's
Right.
not enough muscle memory there, and there's not enough brain space, I guess, that's going like, hey, okay, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. Jujitsu is just here's it's gonna get real nerdy real quick. Um, Jiu-jitsu is just really a huge, giant if and statement. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as we you coined it before, it is chessling. You know,
It's chessling.
you gotta be
If they
you gotta be thinking multiple moves ahead because in an actual active scenario where your partner's not just letting you land the techniques because you're drilling it,
Mhm.
um, you have to try to anticipate how they're going to move and how are you going to react to one further your position and get to the move or transition from that move into something else.
and also and to move from this position and not give them an opening.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. It's like okay, I did this. I'm
It's
gonna
like
go here, and then it's like oh well,
I'm gonna
thank you
try.
for your arm.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
like,
gonna
oh,
go
cool.
ahead and sit on this and go ahead and
Yeah,
pull your other one off.
yeah. But wow, that was just a dumb move because now you just basically gave me your entire arm and stuff like that. And that's kind of one of the things that I've tried to do when I'm trying to do moves. If I'm trying to pass, let's say you're a guard, right?
Yep.
I try to keep my hands below the waist or below the belly button, kind of above the belly button. That's kind of the dangerous zone because now they can grab and pull, and now your arm's in danger. So I
Yeah.
try to keep everything below, kind of
I can
at the
break your
belt,
posture
below the.
from there, basically.
Yes, yeah. Try to keep my hands kind of at the where the belt is, or or below the belly button. Because sometimes belts right up.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of where I try to, and that's the thing. I'm super focused on where are my hands right now, instead of being like, what should they be doing right now? What should they
Right.
be? And so that's kind of where, um, so that's where I don't like to be in the guard.
Right. Right.
I'm not a great guard passer. If I pass your guard, I'm basically saying, hey, I feel like getting tapped out right now
I'm gonna give you something to
because I'm
submit
not
me
good
with.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I am
and
not
it's
good enough at passing a guard to not get crushed. I'm like, here's a thing, want to break it? Here's a neck, want to choke it?
yeah. Well, and there's been a couple of times when we've just been drilling and we've been drilling passing, and I've just
Mm-hmm.
held on to your arm. It's like I have an arm bar right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
There's so
And
many
if
things to think about, right?
Yeah, and I feel the same way too about side control. I'm not good at maintaining side control. I'm just like I'm super easy to pass in side control.
See,
I'm like
I
unless I have
love
like
side control.
I think side control is your jam, man. Like that's gonna be your bread and butter. Um and that'll be, because you like that choke, right? You like that paper cutter choke. Or you like the arm choke, right? The arm triangle choke,
Yeah,
right?
so I would say I feel the same way about side control like you do from close guard.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite submission by far right now is the head and arm choke or the arm triangle. Because I've been pretty successful of getting your arm into the right spot and getting my head where it needs to be to hold everything in place,
Mm-hmm.
and then crossing over to the other side. Like I think my crossface is pretty strong. Just reaching under and grabbing your opposite armpit and then reaching in there. Like if I've got my head in the right place around your arm, I mean, just squeezing. Like I was able to hear you go,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
You could hear that was actually you heard my soul leaving my body.
and then so just moving across, and windshield wipering across, going knee to belly, and then wipering across to the other side, and then just slowly moving. Um, I feel like it's something that it made sense. I feel like I was able to do it well, and I actually feel like it was something I was able to lock in pretty consistently, where it was the actual choke, and
Yep.
I was cutting off your blood flow, and
Mhm.
it wasn't just this is real uncomfortable, and I'm gonna tap
Mhm.
because he can hold me here forever.
Yep. Well, and that's just and yeah, and I think you did. I think you did. You got the positions right. You executed what you were going through. Either like the choke or whatever. And I felt like I couldn't do anything, even from the bottom trying to sweep out, or from the dominant on top position. I felt like I couldn't do anything. And one of the reasons I'm not a giant fan of I'm not a giant fan of um, side control is because the first time I tried to actually get into that position, I ended up with a sideways finger. So
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
that was a great time. That was
Yeah,
so.
hey, but it's happened.
Yep,
You've gotten there, and now you know.
I know. I just and honestly, it's not a uh a position that I'm going to try to avoid. I just know whenever we're doing side control, I'm going to be okay. I really need to laser focus on what we're doing right now because I know that I'm not great with this. I currently struggle with
There
this
you go.
position. I currently struggle with this position. So I need more I need more reps, right?
Right.
It's more, and that's all it is. I mean, you know, practice makes progress, and that's what I need. It's more. I need more rep ability. I just need to be more reps, more reps, more reps, more reps, more reps, and that's it. If I do it one time, that's great. If I do it 100 times, you know what? I'm going to be way better.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And just like stuff from guard clicked for you, stuff from side control has clicked for me, and I feel the same way. Like if I can get to side control, and even if you're posted on me, I feel like I am competent enough to break your grips or break your posts and prevent you from shrimping into me and getting back to guard. But then I'm confident about getting into like north south, and setting up
That's
something like a paper cutter from there.
Yep,
If I've got that arm isolated, it's real easy to just hold on to the arm from north south, and then lift you up, and then swing my legs around. Like there's so many different things I feel like side control offers. And then
yeah,
I can same thing, I can move from a key lock, Americana, to a Kimura, to the head and arm choke. There's so many different things, and from there I feel like it's way easier to move into mount.
yep.
We haven't learned a whole lot of stuff from mount, but
No, I feel
um,
very, I feel very um non-threatening um from Mount. I mean, if it was a an MMA match, I will feel a lot better because I can throw punches. But I have zero offense from Mount. Zero.
my mount offense right now is putting my weight down on you.
Basically the same thing. You know what? I'm gonna hug. I'm gonna go kind of do an over under. I'm gonna hug you really tight. I'm gonna just sweet nothings in your ear, and hopefully you just say that you had enough and you tap out.
Yeah, and mount's a super dominant position, but um, I don't know where to go. Uh,
In honest instance, I don't. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's just, and that's why I feel more comfortable from side control. It's just cool. I can get to mount, but what am I gonna do from here? Just haven't learned anything from there. Like I know it's real
No,
dominant,
that's
but
just
what do I do? It's like I got here,
no,
now I'm
that's
just
just
gonna sit on you for the rest of the 4 minutes or whatever that's left.
yeah, and that's just it, right? Like you're supposed to be. That's Mount and back control, those are your two most dominant positions, I would say.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's reasonable.
because you're those are the two positions you're gonna have. You are supposed to have the most control. I have zero control in mount. Zero control in mount. I would be so easy to sweep in mount. I'd just be like, the second they push my knee down and grab my arm and get me off kilter, I'm over. I'm like, oh, I guess you want to be on top now.
Your turn.
Your turn. Okay. Now we're going to missionary. It's your turn.
Nope. Nope.
So I'm just like I'm not great there, and it's kind of like mount where I should be, especially with being a heavier dude. I should have more control. I don't feel I do. Side control, north south, all those positions are like I'm pre-K for that stuff. I'm
Sure. Okay.
I'm maybe first grade for maybe close guard. But I also like butterfly guard. I know we've done butterfly guard a couple of times in the last couple of weeks and stuff like that. And we haven't done a lot from there,
Right. Yeah.
but but I feel like, hey man, if I can kind of scoot forward and lift you up above me in butterfly guard, I can probably lift up a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you've been lifting me up pretty easily.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been like, huh. The first I'm like, wow, this is actually not that hard. So I don't know what to do once you get up there.
Whatever you want.
I,
You can get me back into full guard. You can sweep me easily from there.
I'm just like, hey man, cool. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna
Go
fly
for
you like
airplane.
an airplane ride.
Go airplane ride. Let's go for airplane ride.
Pretty
That's
much.
kind of what I. That's kind of what I feel like.
That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I that's something I struggle with a lot, trying to just get you up and what even though I got these tree trunk thighs, I can't I can't get all the strength up and under all the time. It's yeah, that's something that's tough for me.
and I think too, and I think that kind of goes with like the size thing is where my obviously my thighs are not twigs, um, but I think I can sit closer to you in that from that butterfly position to actually get down and get up to where I can get the leverage to lift you up,
Yeah,
where I don't think you can get far enough in um, to actually get to the right leverage, right? So there's kind of one of the disadvantages of rolling as a heavier guy, especially if you have thicker thighs and a thicker midsection. You can't always kind of close that space to do it, and now you're not using more leverage. Now you're using more kind of strength to get it up.
right,
And I
right.
don't care who you are. That's a strong. You have to be wicked strong to put someone over you, basically from sitting down. You need to rely on leverage, and if you don't have the leverage, you need them to help you get you up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's why I ask you. I'm like, hey, can you help me a little bit on these last few?
Yep.
Yes, I'm gonna need some help here.
I need you to spot me.
Yes, for sure. Um, yeah. So I think that the important thing is right now in really grand terms of jujitsu, we're overall like we're in kindergarten.
Yep, for sure.
I'm a kindergarten jujitsu student, but I side control at a first grade level. Okay,
Hmm. Yeah,
and yeah, and
same thing.
it's crazy. Like it's just yeah, there's so much to learn, and I like the point that we're at now because I don't feel completely lost as we
Yeah.
go through techniques. I'm like, okay, you're saying things that I understand. When you're talking about a gable grip the first time, I'm like, what the hell is a gable grip? A C
Hmm.
grip, or you're gonna monkey clamp, or you're gonna do this,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what is all of this stuff? And now it's like, hey, it's more effective. Sure, you can C grip to get it initially, but if you then move to a monkey grip, it's going to be more
Yeah.
effective.
Yeah, I know. I know the first time that they said sea grip, I'm like, did he say sea grip or sea grums? Because I could go for a drink.
Yeah, we're just in the middle of this. You
Hey,
get tapped,
sure.
you get tapped, you take a shot.
Do you tap? You know what? I'll take a 7 and 7. Cool.
Oh, please no. Ugh. Got to get something
Hey,
better than a 7 and 7.
no, you don't.
You do.
That equals 14. That equals 14. That's higher than 10. Most rates only go up to 10. So you
Whatever
need to get
whatever you say. Whatever you say.
you need to get higher. You need to get a more refined palate, sir.
Apparently I do.
You do.
That's fine.
Hmm. Little
Anyways, little
little 7 and 7 or a little Windsor and Mountain Dew. How about
yes,
that?
that's it. Windsor and Diet Mountain Dew
Windsor Diet Mountain Dew.
because
Talk about
I gotta
classy.
watch this figure here. You know,
Uh-huh. That's true. You got a girlish figure you got to watch out for. So
that's what I was trying to think. I'm like, what was it that we used to drink? Yeah, Windsor and Diet Mountain
Windsor
Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew.
The Windsor
Because
that's
these
like
curves.
$12 a handle.
Yep. Because these curves aren't natural.
Gotta work for those.
I'm working for I'm working for these I'm working for these lumps. So I wasn't just I wasn't just given a dump truck at birth. I gotta work for it.
Yep, there you go. And I mean, I can tell work has paid off, my friend.
Yeah, yeah. I almost I have I almost I almost have a butt, you know. I have less back to crack than I did in the past.
All right, okay, okay, that's fair.
So basically, if we're talking, if we're using, jujitsu as what we are in school, I'm the same thing, I'm a kindergartner jujitsu student, probably with a first K or a first grade close guard abilities. But I would say I got a pretty thick second grade bud for sure.
All right, okay,
It's
okay.
almost we're getting there. It's coming along. It's coming along.
I think on that note,
Eventually, I won't have to wear a belt. I won't just be standing with plumber crack because there's nothing in the back to hold my pants up. So
gotcha.
that's my actual goal.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
I'm looking for a natural. I want a natural belt. I need a shelf. I need a shelf to put my mug on.
Do it. Get there.
That's, I'll get there.
um. Well, with that being said, do you have any final thoughts for the night?
Nope. I mean, always learn. Continue to learn. Continue to push yourself. There's always one more. There's always one more adventure. There's always one more um hill to climb. So, and that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and we're at the bottom of that hill looking up, my friend.
We are, but
um,
we got a canteen and we got a bag full of snacks. So we're gonna make it.
yes, I love snacks.
Hmm.
But yeah, with that being said, I feel like I said, I feel pretty good about where we're at right now in our overall jujitsu journey.
I do too.
I feel competent. I feel I shouldn't say competent. I feel less lost.
Yeah.
Um, Now that we've been doing it for a while and we've been going through some of these movements and techniques, and I feel good. I feel like the time hasn't been wasted. I feel like I've made progress, um, and I feel like the growth is only going to get exponential. Like it's just gonna continue to, because as we keep going through techniques and we going through techniques and going through techniques, we're already familiar with these movements, we're already familiar with these things, and it's going to get better for us. We're going to be able to refine it even more, and we're going to keep building from there. When we obviously when we throw something in new, it's going to be a struggle for a bit, but it's not going to be nearly as big of a struggle.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's we're gonna learn more faster. And
Yes.
we showed that last week. We were able to get through so many of the different Kimura things in a pretty good succession, where before would have you maybe would have went twice and I would have went twice. I think we both got through it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, for sure.
We were able to go both sides and do a bunch of stuff. So I I feel good. I'm happy we've stuck with it. I feel more competent. I'm more confident in myself as well. Not just at the gym, but outside the gym. I feel like I'm carrying myself with a little more confidence because I have been doing some of these things and I am doing better in these things.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, just keep at it. And my one of my favorite things to do is still watch jujitsu videos of techniques that we've learned and I'm struggle with. I watch a ton of stuff about closed guard and then I I fail to execute, but I'm trying, and that's the thing.
Yep. For sure. And that's just and you've touched on it. You're a student of the game, right?
Right.
And this goes to the you know what? Read the read the chapter. Go it never hurts to read ahead. No one's ever gonna give you a hard time for reading ahead.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's and
So
that's the thing is read ahead, read back, review.
re- yep. You know what? Re- read the book, go back to the start, read the book again, read the book again, read the book again. Because there's something you missed the first time you went through. There's something you missed the second time you went through, you know? And, look for tips, especially if you're new to the game. Look for tips that they have just for white belts, because these are people that have gone through the journey
Yep.
and have progressed to higher belts. And, like, here's what I wish I would have done as a white belt. Now that I've gone through to the journey to this point, you know what? Looking back, this is them basically handing you the hindsight is 2020, right? Here's the
Right.
hindsight. Here's the I wish I would have known when I started this. And really focus on that and being like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. This is why I like the guard is because a lot of people are like, hey, you know what? If you're going to survive, get good at guard.
Yeah.
You need to get good. You need to get good at guard. Be know what you can do as far as what's your defense from the guard and what offensive tools you have from the guard and how to not get swept from the guard or how to not let them um,
Pass your guard.
escape your
Yeah.
guard, pass your guard, right? Yeah, that's the word that I was looking for. Um, and so, do that. You know what? If you're thinking about doing it, if you are doing it and you're new to the game, I mean, learn from those ahead of you, not us, because we're
We're right
at
there
the
with
same,
you.
we're with you, you know,
We're
we're,
we're like
we're
looking a
holding hand.
page ahead.
We're
Okay?
like, hey man, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, we're still in the same chapter.
Yeah, we're we're
We just
we're
might be
yeah.
you're page 10, we're page 11. Like you can still see us if it's a field. You can still see us because we're on the same journey, And so learn from the people that went ahead of you. And you know what? Don't take it to heart and really focus on that on stuff like that because any advantage you can go into the gym with, the better.
For sure. Well, and really the only person you're going to help is yourself.
Exactly.
So help yourself. We talked
Yep.
about it last week. Set yourself up for success. Do it for you, and you'll get there. So be a student, review your stuff. Look at stuff that you think is interesting. I've always found side control interesting. I've looked at a ton of side control stuff, and maybe that's just subconsciously because I've seen it so much. I feel like I operate better from there. Like who knows? But never stop being a student. Always learn and then adapt because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's going to experience jujitsu different. And take the words of the people that have come before you as you're watching the videos, and they're like, hey, this is a lot of the things that white belts struggle with on the paper cutter, or this,
Hmm.
the pendulum sweep, or triangles. Listen to those people and take that advice, but also make sure you adapt it to your game, because
Yep.
like me, a lot of that stuff doesn't apply because I'm a big dude. I can't do that little movement that they're asking for right now. It's something I struggle with. Will I be able to get there eventually? Yes. But knowing that, hey, if I'm tweaking my body this way, it's going to put more torque on it, but I can't get all the way over like they have in this video.
Hmm.
And it's only going to get better from there.
Yep. And the student thing, and that goes beyond just in the gym. Be a student of life. I mean, just what? Always don't ever always learn new skills. It doesn't hurt to learn something new. If it's a skill or if it's a book or something, it doesn't hurt to learn.
I mean, sometimes it hurts. When we learned Kimuras, it hurt quite a bit.
Well, anything in the gym, 90% of the stuff in the gym when you're learning it, it's gonna hurt physically and mentally. You know, it's gonna hurt you physically because obviously it's a submission and it's supposed to make you not want it anymore. Mentally, it's gonna hurt because it's like I'm just tired of getting smashed all the time. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
but that's where the I can't and the current struggle. That's where the I can't needs to be taken over with the current struggle with
agreed. Change your mindset, and
mindset.
it'll help. It'll help with all things for sure.
Yes, for sure.
All right, I think with that being said, I think that's a good note to stop on. So I appreciate everybody that's been listening. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. And if you have any topics you would like us to cover, please send them to rollinheavybjj@gmail.com. Any topics, any word of the week suggestions, questions, please send them our way. We're more than happy to talk about them on the next show. So please send them our way, and we look forward to hearing from everyone. We appreciate the listen. Have a good night, everyone.